Hi everyone, it's Dr. RAMANI. Welcome back to this YouTube channel on narcissism, narcissistic and toxic relationships, people, you name it. I'm going to take on this question because it's come up before. What is it with narcissistic people and abandonment? So let's take it on. What is it? So the very people, these narcissistic folks who are literally like bulls in a china shop when it comes to their relationships, may actually be far more fragile around abandonment. So let's take apart what is that about. Foremost, it's about attachment. Narcissism is a personality style which is very multi-determined, and we've taken that on in many other videos. There's no singular path to narcissism, and the different backstories can result in narcissistic people that look different kinds of ways. Now, sometimes what we do know is that the more chaotic, neglectful childhood backstories that result in narcissism tend to land more and look like vulnerable narcissism. The overly indulgent, emotionally available, no limits, entitled parents and childhoods, those will slightly more often beget the more grandiose ones. But no matter what the path, attachment issues appear to belie the evolution of narcissism and then the subsequent abandonment issues. Most narcissistic folks are anxiously attached, though there is also some overlap with avoidant attachment. Anxious attachments are associated with this idea that a person doesn't do well with separation. They're anxious when they're apart from a primary person in their life and can get angry at the time of reunion, sort of feeling angry that they were ever left in the first place. For folks with anxious attachments, separations and the endings of relationships are experienced as really deep wounds that are harder for them to get past. The other element that makes abandonment such an issue in narcissistic personalities is their need for control. This means that a narcissistic person is willing to end a relationship on their own terms, but they don't like being left. The control is once again a sort of grandiose defense that allows the vulnerable parts of them to sort of be buffered or protected. So the control means that they control the narrative and nobody really gets to leave. So if someone does leave, there is a cascade of "how dare you" sort of rage. Then there are optics. Narcissistic people care what things look like. They may do shady things in private, but don't like it when things don't look what they think is right in public. Because if they don't look great in public, that affects them getting validation. So as a result, people who are narcissistic will do things like continue to mistreat a spouse and stay in the marriage for show, cheat in private, and then be enraged if someone leaves them because now things don't look so good if they don't have sort of the marriage, the Christmas card, the picture, all of that. And all of this comes together under the big bow of lack of self-awareness and fear of vulnerability. To speak about fears, to do the work of addressing their own shame, to be more clear on how childhood attachment issues and other past family stuff may have impacted them, that self-awareness can then be what brings a person into their adult self and not be pulled around by the nose of insecurity, fragility, and fear. It's damn near impossible for narcissistic folks to plug into their vulnerability because it feels cataclysmic to them, and they will rage and lash out at anyone who pings or evokes that vulnerability and that shame in them. This is why narcissism as a personality style is so complex in adult relationships. There is the little child in the narcissist that desperately needs attention. There's the wannabe superhero that has to be the boss and in control all the time to keep the insecurity under control. There is that internal publicist that needs everything to look right. And there is an utter lack of self-examination or clarity. People are often surprised at the depth of a narcissistic person's response to someone ending a relationship with them. And it's not just romantic relationships. It can be leaving a job or ending a business partnership. It can be distancing or ending a friendship or ending a relationship with a family member. In many ways, the silent agreement we unfortunately craft with narcissistic people is that we're supposed to unquestioningly put up with their invalidation and never leave. Issues like post-separation abuse, the escalated harassment we see when somebody breaks up from a narcissistic person, the stalking, that they can't let go behavior after a breakup, all of that's a manifestation of these abandonment issues that completely go sort of full tilt. So too are passive-aggressive social media campaigns against someone, smear campaigns after the relationship ends, and petty behavior that can persist for years. Folks who decide to cut off narcissistic relationships have the sense it will be hard, but most people are surprised at how hard it is. And when you account for what maybe your own struggles with anxious attachment are and throw that into the mix, it's a wonder that anyone ever gets out of these relationships. But odds are their abandonment issues are worse than yours, so don't let that tough person exterior throw you off. And that is why these breakups are never easy, no matter what kind of relationship it is. Thanks again.